Great. Now I flip all the icons in that timeline to business interactions. I'm like, you meet someone online and you say, buy this or become a member. And then no one laughs. And I start laughing. I'm like, you idiots. It's the same thing. You're trying to get someone to buy in and join a relationship with you on the first interaction. That's just as dumb as asking someone to marry you on the first date. This is a relationship build. That's the business that you're in. How do I overserve that? Hey,
so now let me ask you, Jimmy. You shared a comment, a post, a remark where somebody had complained about the APTA being involved with other businesses, other companies. I remember a couple of years ago, maybe there were sponsored ads and stuff that people didn't agree with. I don't think it matters. I mean, it's just like a pro athlete getting endorsed by Nike. Maybe you don't agree with Nike,
Correct.
but what do you think about that?
I think an organization, and I don't want to just use APTA, but it's obvious, it's obviously an easy one because it comes up a lot because I don't have a problem with it. Right? I mean, you see as long as you identify it as an advertisement, right? Which I think in the beginning, a lot of remember there used to be magazine articles and it would look like content. And then the FCC or FTA, I think it was the FTA, said you have to identify this as an advertisement if it's an advertising placement. And I dealt with this a lot in radio because record companies would come in and, back in the radio days of the movie Spinal Tap, they'd walk in and they'd be like, I'll buy you a TV if you play my new crappy record. And what they're saying there with the FCC is you can't do pay for play, right? Unless you identify we're going to play the 30 seconds of a clip of a song as an advertisement. So I think as long as it's delineated, here's an organization, here's an advertiser that values your attention as a member so much that they are paying to be in front of it, but you still get to decide whether or not you're going to buy into that. Now I think emotion gets tied into it. Because I won't say, I'm not going to say who exactly this thing that I shared with you, right? I think the emotion comes into it when people are like, they're my competitor. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but they're your competitor 365, 24/7. So why are you upset? Are you upset they're doing it? Or are you upset they're doing it on a larger scale than you?
Right.
Figure out what you're actually upset at. Are you upset that an organization is accepting a partnership? Or are you doing it? Are you angry because they're doing it and you view them as your competitor? Ask what you're actually upset about.
And let's take a left turn on that, because when I see these remarks all the time, air quotes, physical therapy, corporate physical therapy. It's one of those things that just drives me crazy because I understand Michael Derry, he's here. Scott's here from Health Mention. Awesome. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are passionate. I know both of you. I watch what you guys post. You care so much about what you do, how you do it. It's so important to you. But like most things, there's a market for different consumers. And so if Toyota or Honda or any of these car companies was building each car from scratch with a single person, one craftsman designing everything originally, that car is unaffordable to the masses. And so when we look at a physical therapy clinic that has multiple locations, that's seeing relatively higher volume than small individual providers are seeing, it gets a bad label. But the fact is, if they weren't delivering what the consumer wants, the consumer would not go there. Nobody is being forced to go to those places. Plus, most of us, my clinic, we couldn't handle the capacity of all of the people. We already, not me, but others, already have long wait times. They're not getting to all the patients they need. They don't have the staff. They don't have the resources, the volume. I wish we could get away from this idea that we label a higher volume clinic as a mill. It's just a different delivery method.
I asked that question a while ago, and that you see the visceral emotion. You see the visceral emotion in the texts.
Yeah.
I said, okay, so let's pretend you were explaining what a PT mill is versus not a PT mill, right? What's the line? And people were coming in with exact numbers. If you see more than 21 patients a day, I'm like, so 22 is no, but 20 is okay. Got it. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. If you're seeing more than one patient at a time, or if it's not one-on-one care for an hour, You want to know the fastest way to figure out what someone's business model is? Ask them what the crappy model is. Then you'll say, well, what's not that? They'll describe their own model.
Right.
But you and I believe, are agreeing on this. It sounds like good care is decided not by you. Good care is decided by the person. So I love this line by, I think this was Donald Miller. Probably not. I'm good with quotes, but not about who said them. You determine the cost. Audience determines the value. You do not you do not get to decide how valuable you are. That is what I do as the audience. You can try to communicate what you think you're valuable, how you are valuable, and what you think they might value, but they decide. You determine cost, I determine value. That's how it works, my friends. Also, I'll say I worked for a guy who, when I started there, was very excited that I had a background in communications, and I was happy to oblige. And he would write Facebook posts that were like longer than several arms. I'd walk in the morning, new PT, ready to see my first patient, and he'd be like, come here, I want you to review this. And essentially the entire block of text would be him raging against PT mills. And I read it, and he said, what do you think I should do? He was looking for like punch up the headline, put in a graphic. And I said, do you feel better that you've written it? Yes. Great. Delete it. And he was like, but people need to be educated to understand that we provide one-on-one. You've heard this before.
Yeah.
And they provide crap. And I gave him the analogy that if you were trying to get a girl's phone number at a bar, where would you spend more of your time? Talking about the guy down the bar and why he sucks? You shouldn't take that. You shouldn't take that guy's number. He sucks. He's this, he's not this, he's not this. Would you spend a majority of your time talking about yourself? I do this, I do this, I do this. And I said, what would you spend your time on? Well, they need to be, no, you only get to answer one of two. And he's like, I guess in that analogy, myself. And I said, right. But the correct answer is actually the third answer I didn't give you. Talk about the girl. I learned this the hard way. Freshman and sophomore year, I got a lot of first dates, not a whole lot of second dates. First dates were like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. Meet a girl, quick line. You want to talk tomorrow? Let's go out next week. Bam, got the first date. Second date's long form content. And in freshman and sophomore year, Jimmy was like, I can't wait to tell them how smart I am. And I was the captain of the high school hockey team. And I did this and I did no second date. Junior and senior year, when someone clued me in, don't talk about you. Don't talk about the guy down the bar they shouldn't go out with. Ask them questions about themselves. And when they leave, their feeling is, wow, he really wanted to get to know me. Why are you spending time talking about a PT mill? Why are you spending time talking about yourself? Talk about them, your potential partner, patient, client, whatever the hell you want to figure it out. And you'll have a whole lot more second dates.
Which isn't that exactly what great therapists do in an initial evaluation? You see the therapist that just talks about themselves and how great they are on their education and their credentials and talks about all of this other stuff. Patient never comes back. But then you have the therapist who sits there quietly and listens and asks a couple directed questions, and they have a patient for life. Real quick, Jamal is on here asking if we are live, asking us to raise our hand. Jamal, I don't know if you're real or a bot, but yes, this is live.